Americans are now spending over $70 billion a year on sleep aids, from pills to apps to $1,000 mattresses. And yet we are sleeping worse than any generation in recorded history. The average American adult now sleeps less than 6.5 hours a night, a full hour less than we did in the 1940s, and our rates of insomnia have tripled in the last 2 decades. Meanwhile, the average Japanese adult, despite working some of the longest hours on the planet, manages to fall asleep faster, wake up fewer times during the night, and reports feeling genuinely rested more often than we do. And the most shocking part is they do not spend a fortune to get there. No blackout curtains that cost more than a car payment. No $300 sleep tracker on their wrist. No melatonin gummies in flavors tested by focus groups. What they have instead is a set of rituals, some ancient, some modern, that treat sleep not as a biological inconvenience to be hacked, but as a sacred daily practice that restores the body and the mind. I spent 14 nights testing these rituals in my own life, and what happened to my energy, my mood, and my ability to wake up without an alarm left me genuinely shaken. This is the countdown of the 8 Japanese sleep rituals that rewired my nights, ranked from the ones that made a small difference to the one that changed everything. These are so simple they will shock you, and so effective you will wonder why no one ever told you. Number 8. They treat the hour before bed as sacred, not optional. In the United States, we have a phrase we use almost proudly. We call it revenge bedtime procrastination. It is the decision, after a long day of work and obligations, to stay up late scrolling, streaming, or snacking, because we feel like we finally deserve time that belongs only to us. We treat sleep as the enemy of freedom, the thing that ends our brief window of autonomy. The average American now spends 45 minutes on their phone in bed, right before closing their eyes, bathing their brain in blue light and algorithmically selected anxiety. Japanese culture takes the exact opposite approach. The hour before sleep is not a contested territory where you fight to reclaim your life. It is the most protected hour of the day. It is called Yaru no Junbai, the night preparation, and it is treated with a reverence that borders on the spiritual. In a 2022 survey by the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, over 70% of Japanese adults reported following a consistent pre-sleep wind-down routine, compared to just 28% of Americans in a comparable CDC survey. The Japanese do not negotiate with this hour. They do not make exceptions for a few more emails. They do not fall into a YouTube rabbit hole and emerge at 2 a.m. They close the day with intention, and they do it every single night. I want you to picture what this actually looks like in a Japanese home, because it is not just turning off screens and staring at a wall. When I stayed with a family in Osaka a few years ago, the mother, a woman named Yuki who worked a demanding job at a design firm, showed me her nightly routine without any self-consciousness. At 9 p.m., she would make a small pot of roasted barley tea, mujicha, which is naturally caffeine-free and has a nutty, toasty flavor that somehow tastes like calm. She would pour it into a small ceramic cup, not a giant travel mug, and she would sit at her kitchen table with the lights dimmed. No phone, no television, no music with lyrics. Sometimes she would write in a small journal, just a few lines about what happened that day. Sometimes she would fold laundry that had been drying on the balcony, the fabric still carrying the faint smell of sunlight. Sometimes she would just sit and look out the window at the street below, where the neighborhood was settling into quiet. The whole thing felt like a ceremony, not a chore. She was not killing time until she felt tired enough to sleep. She was actively transitioning from the noise of the day to the stillness of the night. And she did this every single night, whether she was exhausted or not. Whether she had a big presentation the next day or a lazy Sunday ahead. The consistency was the point. When I first read about this, I rolled my eyes. I told myself I did not have an hour to waste before bed. I had things to do, shows to watch, a life to live. But then I looked at my screen time report and realized I was already spending 90 minutes on my phone after 10 p.m., just scattered and mindless, and none of it was making me feel free. It was making me feel exhausted and wired at the same time. So I tried it. For 14 nights I set a hard boundary. At 9 p.m., my phone went into a drawer in the kitchen, not on my nightstand. My laptop was shut and left in my office. The television was off. I did not try to copy Yuki's exact routine, because I am not a Japanese mother with a lifetime of practice. I just tried to create my own version of the same principle. I made myself a cup of chamomile tea. I sat in my living room with only a small lamp on. I read a physical book, a paperback novel with pages I could turn. Not a screen that could suddenly show me a notification about a sale on shoes I do not need. I even tried writing in a journal, which I had always thought was self-indulgent. But I found that dumping my anxious thoughts onto paper before bed made them feel smaller and more manageable, as if writing them down transferred them out of my brain and onto the page where they could not spin in circles anymore. The first 3 nights were brutal. I did not know what to do with my hands. I felt bored in a way that was almost physically uncomfortable. I kept reaching for a phone that was not there, like a phantom limb. My brain kept screaming that I was wasting time, that I could be answering emails or watching that show everyone was talking about, or at least scrolling through something, anything, to feel connected. But by night 4, something shifted. The quiet stopped feeling like emptiness and started feeling like relief. I began to notice how tired I actually was, a tiredness I had been masking with stimulation for years. By night 7, I was falling asleep in under 10 minutes, something that had not happened since I was a teenager. The science backs this up. Researchers at the University of Tokyo found that participants who eliminated screen exposure for 60 minutes before bed increased their melatonin production by 23% and reduced the time it took to fall asleep by nearly half. The hour you think you are stealing for yourself at night is actually stealing your next day. Try it tonight. Put the phone in another room, close the laptop. Do something slow and analog for 1 hour before you intend to sleep. Read a book. Write down 3 things that happened today. Fold your laundry. Let the silence feel uncomfortable for a few days. Then watch what happens when your brain remembers how to wind down on its own. Number 7. They soak in hot water, not just to get clean, but to trigger a biological sleep switch. In the West, we shower in the morning. It wakes us up. It is functional. It is fast. The average American shower lasts about 8 minutes, and it is all business. Get in, soap up, rinse off, get out. The goal is cleanliness and alertness. In Japan, the bath, the ofuro, is a nightly ritual that has nothing to do with getting clean and everything to do with preparing the body for deep sleep. You actually wash your body before you get in the tub, often sitting on a small stool, rinsing off completely with a handheld shower head. The bath itself is for soaking, and the water is hot, typically between 104 and 108 degrees Fahrenheit, significantly warmer than what most Westerners can tolerate. I remember the first time I saw a Japanese bathroom in a ryokan, a traditional inn in Hakone. The tub was made of wood, hinoki cypress, and it was deeper than an American tub. Designed so, the water came up to your shoulders when you sat in it. The room was steamy and smelled like wet cedar, and there was a small window that looked out onto a tiny garden with moss and a single stone lantern. It was not a bathroom, it was a sanctuary. The reason this matters for sleep is not just about feeling relaxed. It is about a specific biological mechanism. When you soak in hot water, your core body temperature rises. Then when you step out of the bath, your body rapidly cools down. That drop in core temperature is one of the most powerful signals your brain, receives that it is time to sleep. It mimics the natural temperature dip that occurs in the evening as part of your circadian rhythm. A 2019 study from the University of Texas at Austin, analyzing thousands of sleep studies, found that a hot bath or shower taken 90 minutes before bed significantly reduced the time it took participants to fall asleep and increased the amount of deep sleep they experienced. But the Japanese have known this intuitively for centuries, long before any sleep lab existed. I tried this for the full 14 nights, and I will be honest, the first night I thought I was going to pass out. I am not used to water that hot. I sat in the tub, skin turning pink, breathing shallowly, wondering if this was a ritual or an endurance test. My bathroom is not a serene ryokan with a cypress tub and a moss garden. It is a standard American bathroom with beige tiles and a shower curtain that is probably overdue for a wash. But I did what I could to make it feel intentional. I turned off the overhead light and lit a candle. I did not bring my phone. I just sat in the hot water, feeling my heart rate increase slightly as my body tried to cool itself down, feeling the sweat bead on my forehead. It was uncomfortable in a way that felt productive, like the discomfort of a deep stretch. By the third night, my body started to crave it. The heat stopped feeling aggressive and started feeling like it was unwinding muscles I did not even know were tight. I carry tension in my shoulders and jaw, and after 15 minutes in the hot water, those muscles would finally release, and I would feel my face soften and my shoulders drop away from my ears. The real magic happened about 20 minutes after I got out. A wave of drowsiness would hit me so hard I could barely make it to my bed. It was not the groggy, drugged feeling of a sleep aid. It was a deep, natural heaviness, like my body was finally giving itself permission to shut down. I started tracking my sleep with a simple app on my phone, placed across the room so I was not tempted to scroll. My deep sleep increased by an average of 38 minutes per night over the 2 weeks. I woke up less, I dreamed more vividly. I dreamed about my grandmother's kitchen, about a beach I visited as a child, about faces I had not thought about in years. All from a bath. Not a pill, not a powder you mix into water, just hot water and 15 minutes of stillness. If you have a bathtub, try this tonight. Wash first. Fill the tub as hot as you can safely tolerate. Soak for 15 minutes. Get out, dry off, and go directly to bed. Do not check your phone. Do not turn on the TV. Just let your body temperature drop and carry you into sleep. It is the cheapest, oldest sleep technology on Earth, and it works. Number 6. They sleep on futons, not mattresses, and their spines are thanking them. The first time I saw a Japanese futon, I did not understand it. I was visiting a friend in Kyoto, and when he showed me his bedroom, I thought he was joking. There was no bed frame, no box spring, no pillow top mattress with cooling gel layers. Just a thin cotton mattress, maybe 3 inches thick, unrolled directly onto the tatami mat floor. The room smelled like woven straw from the tatami, a grassy, earthy scent that I had never encountered before. The futon itself was covered in plain white cotton, no patterns, no branding, no memory foam technology promises. It looked like something from another century. I asked him where his real bed was, and he looked at me like I was the one who was confused. This, he said, pointing at the futon, is the real bed. The Western mattress is the strange one. And he was right, at least from a spinal health perspective. A 2021 study from the Tokyo Medical and Dental University compared sleep quality and back pain in participants sleeping on Western-style mattresses versus traditional Japanese futons. The futon group reported 41% less lower back pain after 8 weeks, and their spinal alignment during sleep was significantly more neutral. The reason is simple. A soft, plush mattress allows your spine to sag into unnatural curves. Your hips sink, your shoulders round, your lower back gets no support. Over years of sleeping on a soft mattress, your body adapts to these bad positions, and you wake up with stiffness and pain that you slowly accept as normal. A futon, by contrast, is firm and thin. It does not contour to your body. Your body has to adapt to it, and in doing so, it finds its natural alignment. Your spine is forced to maintain its natural S-curve, because there is no soft surface allowing it to collapse. I ordered a basic shikabuton, a Japanese floor mattress, from a company that imports them, and I will not lie to you. The first 3 nights were rough. I woke up with sore hips. I felt every bone in my body pressing against the floor. I am a side sleeper, and my hip bone felt like it was grinding directly into the floorboards with only a thin layer of cotton between them. I nearly gave up. I lay there on night 3 at 2 a.m., seriously considering dragging my old mattress back into the room and admitting defeat. But my friend in Kyoto had warned me about this. He said it takes about a week for your body to unlearn the bad posture it has developed from years of soft mattresses. He told me that when he first switched, he felt like he had been in a car accident for the first 5 days, and then suddenly, on day 6, he woke up feeling like he had a new spine. So I stuck with it. By night 5, the soreness was gone. By night 7, I noticed something strange. I was not tossing and turning anymore. On my old mattress, I used to rotate like a rotisserie chicken all night, constantly seeking a position that did not hurt. I would wake up on my stomach, then my side, then my back, then diagonal across the bed, the sheets twisted into a knot. On the futon, I would lie down on my back, and that is where I would stay until morning. My body did not need to move, because nothing was out of alignment. I also noticed that I was waking up without the dull ache in my lower back that I had assumed was just part of being over 30. It was not age, it was my mattress. The other thing I noticed was temperature. Mattresses trap heat. Memory foam is basically an oven, absorbing your body heat and radiating it back at you all night. The futon is cotton, breathable, and you are close to the floor where the air is cooler. I stopped waking up sweaty. I stopped throwing off the covers at 3 a.m. The futon also has another advantage that I did not expect. Because it goes on the floor, it forces you to keep your floor clean. You cannot have dust bunnies and dirty socks under a futon. Every morning, I would fold it up and put it away in the closet. A practice called futon oejiru, raising the futon, which airs it out and keeps it fresh. My bedroom suddenly had twice as much space during the day. It became a room I could use for stretching or reading, or just walking through, without squeezing past a giant bed that dominated the entire space. If you are not ready to throw away your entire bed, here is a smaller experiment. Try sleeping on a yoga mat on the floor for 1 night, just to feel what a firm surface does to your spine. You might hate it at first, but if you can push through the initial discomfort, you may discover, like I did, that the softest bed is not the best bed. The best bed is the one that lets your body rest in the shape it was designed to hold. Number 5. They use buckwheat hull pillows, which sound like a prank but are actually a neck alignment miracle. When I first heard about Sobakawa pillows, I genuinely thought someone was messing with me. A pillow filled with buckwheat hulls, the hard outer shells of a grain. It sounds like something you would find in a medieval reenactment, not a modern bedroom. I imagined a sack of birdseed, lumpy and uncomfortable, the kind of thing a monk might use as penance. And yet walk into any Japanese home, and you will find these pillows. They are not a niche health product for people with chronic neck pain. They are the standard. Department stores sell them. Grandmothers give them as housewarming gifts. Children grow up sleeping on them and do not know anything else. And the reason is that they solve a problem most Westerners do not even realize they have. Our pillows are designed for comfort, not for support. They are soft and fluffy, and they collapse under the weight of your head, leaving your neck bent at an angle that stresses your cervical spine all night. You fluff them up. They feel great for about 10 minutes, and then your head sinks through the fluff until it is essentially resting on the mattress with a wall of polyester on either side of your face. Your neck is left hanging in midair or bent at a sharp angle, and you spend 8 hours in that position. A Sobakawa pillow does not collapse. The buckwheat hulls shift and settle, molding to the exact shape of your head and neck, and then they hold that shape. The support is firm and constant. It is almost like a custom-molded orthotic for your neck, except the molding happens every single night when you lie down. A 2020 study from the Department of Rehabilitation Medicine at Nagoya University found that participants using buckwheat pillows showed significantly better cervical spine alignment during sleep compared to those using standard polyester or feather pillows, and they reported waking up with less neck stiffness and fewer tension headaches. I bought one online before starting my 2-week experiment, and when it arrived, I opened the box and just stared at it. It was heavy. It weighed probably 5 or 6 pounds, which is 4 pounds more than my old pillow. It made a rustling sound when I moved it, a soft shushing noise like walking through dry leaves. I put my head on it and my first thought was, this is a bag of rocks. This is not a pillow. It did not give at all. It felt like resting my head on a firm beanbag, and the hulls shifted slightly under my weight, making that rustling sound right next to my ear. But I had committed to the full Japanese sleep experience, so I used it. The first night I slept okay. Not great, but okay. The second night I adjusted the filling, removing some hulls to make it slightly softer, which is something you can do with these pillows. They are customizable in a way Western pillows are not. There is a zipper on the side, and you can add or remove hulls until you find your perfect density. I took out about 2 cups of hulls, and the pillow felt significantly better. By the 4th night, I was a convert. I woke up without the usual stiffness in my neck that I had accepted as a normal part of being alive. For years, I had been turning my head slowly in the morning, feeling the creakiness in my neck, stretching it side to side like I was warming up for a workout. That creakiness was gone. My shoulders, which I carry somewhere near my ears during the day, actually relaxed at night. The pillow supported my neck in a neutral position, and my shoulders could finally drop down onto the futon without being propped up at an angle. The rustling sound, which initially bothered me, became a kind of white noise, a soft shushing that told my brain it was time to sleep. It was almost like a gentle rain sound, but drier, more tactile. The pillow also stays cool. Buckwheat hulls do not retain heat the way foam or polyester does. There is air circulating between them all night. I did not realize how much my old pillow was overheating my head until I stopped using it. I used to flip my pillow over multiple times a night, searching for the cool side. With the Sobakawa pillow, there is no cool side because the whole thing stays at room temperature. If you are waking up with neck pain or headaches, your pillow is probably the culprit. Try a Sobakawa pillow for 1 week. It will feel strange at first, like sleeping on a beanbag from a health food store. But your neck will notice the difference before your brain does. And once you experience waking up without pain, you will never go back to a fluffy pillow that collapses into nothing. Number 4. They practice in Amuri strategic napping in public, and it is not laziness. It is a performance-enhancing drug. In America, if you fall asleep at your desk, you wake up to a written warning or a meeting with HR. Sleeping in public is seen as a sign of weakness, of poor time management, of failing to handle your life. If you fall asleep on a train, you are a target. If you doze off in a meeting, you are not a team player. We have built a culture where being visibly tired is shameful, and the only acceptable response to exhaustion is to hide it and power through. In Japan, sleeping on the train in a meeting, or even during a lecture, is not only accepted, It is often viewed as a sign of diligence. The word is inemuri, which translates literally to being present while sleeping. It is the art of dozing off in public spaces, and it is so normalized that no one will wake you up or judge you for it. I remember riding the Yamanote line in Tokyo during rush hour, and at least a third of the passengers were asleep. Not just with their eyes closed, fully asleep, heads lolling, mouths slightly open. One man was standing up, holding the overhead strap, and he was completely out, swaying with the motion of the train like a metronome. Nobody stared, nobody nudged him, nobody filmed him for social media. It was just a normal Tuesday afternoon. The cultural logic is this: if you are exhausted enough to fall asleep in a meeting, it means you have been working so hard that your body has no choice but to shut down. Your exhaustion is proof of your effort. A 2018 study from the University of Tokyo found that a 15 to 20-minute nap in the early afternoon improved cognitive performance, reaction time, and mood in Japanese office workers as effectively as an extra hour of sleep at night. The Japanese have essentially turned napping into a socially sanctioned, no-cost performance enhancer, while we in the West chug a third cup of coffee and pretend we are fine. I tried this during my 2-week experiment, and it was genuinely life-changing. I work from home, so I did not have to worry about office politics, but I had to overcome my own internal resistance. Taking a nap in the middle of the day felt like admitting defeat. It felt lazy. It felt like something a child does, not a productive adult. I had internalized the American belief that sleep is for the weak, and that pushing through fatigue is a virtue. But I remembered the Japanese perspective. The nap is not a sign that you failed to sleep enough at night. It is a strategic tool to make the rest of your day more productive. It is not giving up, it is refueling. So I set a timer for 20 minutes, lay down on my futon in the middle of the afternoon, and closed my eyes. The first few times, I did not actually fall asleep. I just lay there, feeling guilty and restless. My mind running through all the things I should be doing, instead of lying down like a lazy person. I would check the timer every 2 minutes, convinced that 20 minutes had passed when it had only been 4. But by the end of the first week, my body had learned the rhythm. I would drift off within minutes, and when the timer went off, I would wake up feeling like I had just started a brand new day. The grogginess that I always associated with naps, the heavy, disoriented feeling where you wake up not knowing what year it is, did not happen when I kept the nap under 20 minutes. That is the key. Longer naps push you into deep sleep, and waking from deep sleep is what makes you feel worse. A short nap, what the Japanese often call a power nap, keeps you in the lighter stages of sleep and leaves you refreshed. The science is clear. NASA research, widely cited in sleep studies, found that pilots who napped for 26 minutes improved their performance by 34% and their alertness by 54%. The Japanese did not need NASA to tell them this. They have been doing it for centuries. Try it tomorrow. After lunch, when the afternoon slump hits and you find yourself staring at the same email for 10 minutes without comprehending a single word. Set a timer for 20 minutes, close your eyes, and give yourself permission to rest. Do not call it sleeping on the job. Call it inemuri. Call it a strategic reset. Your brain will work better, your mood will lift, and you will get more done in the remaining hours than you would have by pushing through the fog. Number 3. They sleep in separate beds, sometimes separate rooms, and it saves their marriages and their sleep. This one is going to sound radical to American ears. In the United States, sleeping in separate beds is often seen as a sign that a marriage is failing. It is what couples do right before the divorce papers are filed. It is the punchline of sitcom jokes. The husband is in the doghouse, so he sleeps on the couch. The couple has a fight, so one of them spends the night in the guest room. We have been conditioned to believe that a healthy relationship requires sharing a bed every single night, and that any deviation from that norm means something is wrong. In Japan, it is completely normal, and in many households, it is the default arrangement. A 2023 survey by the Japanese Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare found that nearly 30% of married couples in Japan sleep in separate rooms, and among couples over 60, that number rises to over 40%. They do not do this because they do not love each other. They do it because they love sleep. And they understand that two people sharing a bed often means two people disrupting each other's rest all night long. Different bedtimes, different temperature preferences, one partner snoring, one partner stealing the blankets, one partner scrolling on their phone at 2 a.m., one partner getting up to use the bathroom 3 times a night. All of it adds up to fragmented, poor quality sleep for both people. The Japanese solution is simple and practical: sleep apart. Be together during the day, be intimate when you want to be. But when it is time to sleep, prioritize the sleep. The relationship is not defined by the 8 unconscious hours you spend next to each other. It is defined by the conscious hours you spend together when you are awake and present. I am not married, so I could not test this one directly in the same way, but I did something adjacent. I live alone, but I have a dog who sleeps in my bed. A very sweet, very warm, very restless Labrador who licks his paws at 4 a.m. and kicks me in the ribs while dreaming about squirrels. He is a 50-pound animal who somehow takes up 70% of a queen-size bed. And he has no respect for personal space. For the 2 weeks of this experiment, I made him a bed on the floor in the corner of the room. I folded up a soft blanket, put one of my old t-shirts on it so he would have my scent, and placed it in the corner with his favorite chew toy. The first night he was confused. He stared at me with deep betrayal in his eyes. He paced around the room. He put his chin on the edge of the futon and sighed heavily, a sound of pure canine disappointment. I felt like a monster. But by the third night, he had accepted his new sleeping quarters, and I was sleeping through the night without a paw to the face for the first time in years. The difference was immediate and measurable: fewer awakenings, longer stretches of deep sleep, more energy in the morning, no more waking up at 4 a.m. to the sound of licking, no more being pushed to the edge of the bed by a dog who somehow expanded during the night. And I started to understand the Japanese logic. Sharing a bed is not a requirement for a loving relationship. It is a cultural habit, and it is one that often costs both people their rest. If you sleep next to a partner who snores, who moves constantly, who has a different schedule, consider having an honest conversation about separate sleeping spaces. It does not mean your relationship is broken. It means you are both adults who value feeling human in the morning. The Japanese have been doing this for generations, and their divorce rates are lower than ours. Make of that what you will. Number 2. They wake up with the sun, not with an alarm, and their cortisol thanks them. The sound of an alarm clock is, biologically speaking, an assault. Your body is in the middle of a sleep cycle, probably deep sleep or REM, and suddenly a blaring noise triggers a surge of cortisol and adrenaline, the stress hormones, to jolt you into consciousness. You start your day in a state of panic. Your heart races. Your blood pressure spikes. Your brain is flooded with chemicals that evolved to help you escape predators, not to help you ease into a productive morning. And we do this every single day. We set an alarm that rips us out of whatever restorative sleep stage we were in, and then we wonder why we feel groggy and irritable for the first hour of the day. The Japanese have a different approach, one that is so simple it almost sounds too obvious to be worth mentioning. They wake up with the sun. They use natural light, not artificial noise, as their alarm. And they do not do this because they are mystical nature lovers. They do it because it aligns with the body's natural circadian rhythm in a way that no alarm clock ever can. When morning light hits your eyes, even through closed eyelids, it signals your brain to suppress melatonin and begin the process of waking up gradually and naturally. It is a gentle ramp-up, not a sudden shock. Your body has time to adjust, to shift from sleep to wakefulness in a way that feels organic rather than violent. A 2022 study from the Sleep Research Institute at Kyoto University found that participants who woke up with natural light exposure had significantly lower morning cortisol levels and reported feeling more alert and less groggy than those who woke up to an alarm in a dark room. The difference was not subtle. The alarm group showed cortisol spikes similar to what you would see in someone experiencing acute stress. They were essentially starting every day with a miniature fight-or-flight response. I tried this during my experiment, and it required a small change to my bedroom. I do not have blackout curtains, but I do have blinds that keep the room fairly dark. I angled them so that the morning light would hit my face directly. I figured out that if I tilted the slats upward instead of downward, the light would angle onto my pillow around sunrise. I set my alarm as a backup, but I placed it across the room so I would not be tempted to check it in the middle of the night. The first few mornings, I woke up before my alarm, genuinely confused about what was happening. The light was pulling me out of sleep gently, like a hand on my shoulder rather than a bucket of cold water. I did not feel the usual jolt of dread. I did not immediately reach for my phone to check what I had missed. I just lay there for a moment, letting my brain come online at its own pace, watching the light on the ceiling shift from gray to gold. It felt almost luxurious, like waking up on vacation, except it was a random Tuesday. By the end of the 2 weeks, I had stopped using the backup alarm entirely. My body had learned when to wake up. I was going to bed at roughly the same time every night, thanks to the other rituals, and I was waking up at roughly the same time every morning, without any mechanical intervention. The quality of my mornings changed completely. I was not starting the day in a state of chemical panic. I was starting the day in a state of calm alertness. I had time to lie there for a few minutes, to stretch, to think about the day ahead without feeling like I was already behind. Try this tomorrow night. Leave your blinds or curtains slightly open. Position your bed so the morning light reaches your face. Set your alarm as a safety net, but see if you wake up before it goes off. If you do not hit snooze. Just get up. Your body is telling you it is ready. And a body that wakes up naturally is a body that will have more energy, better focus, and a better mood for the entire day. Number 1, they do not try to sleep. They let sleep come to them, and that is the entire secret. This is the one that changed everything for me. And it is the hardest one for a Western mind to accept because it is not a technique. It is not a product. It is not something you can buy or optimize or track. It is a complete reversal of how we approach sleep. In the West, we try to sleep. We chase it, we take things to force it. We lie in bed and we try to make our brains shut up, and we try to relax and we try to drift off. And the harder we try, the more awake we become. This is called sleep effort syndrome, and it is a major contributor to chronic insomnia. The more you try to control sleep, the more elusive it becomes. You lie there thinking, I need to fall asleep right now. If I don't fall asleep in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be exhausted tomorrow. Why can't I just fall asleep? Everyone else can fall asleep. What's wrong with me? And that spiral of anxiety is exactly what keeps you awake. The Japanese approach, rooted in Zen philosophy, is to stop trying entirely. Sleep is not something you do. It is something that happens to you when the conditions are right. Your job is not to force sleep. Your job is to create the conditions, the dark room, the cool temperature, the quiet mind, the relaxed body, the consistent routine, and then simply wait. Let sleep come when it comes. If it does not come, do not fight it. Get up. Read something boring. Sit in the quiet. Do not reach for your phone. Do not start calculating how many hours you have left before your alarm goes off. Just accept that tonight might be a night of less sleep, and that is okay. This acceptance, this surrender, paradoxically, is what allows sleep to arrive. It is the opposite of everything our culture teaches us about effort and achievement. You cannot achieve sleep. You can only receive it. I learned this from a tea master I met in Kyoto, an 82-year-old man named Sato Sensei, who had been practicing Zen meditation for over 50 years. I met him through my friend who lived there, and we sat in his tiny tea room, a space so minimal it was almost empty, just tatami mats and a single scroll hanging in the alcove and a vase with one flower. He moved slowly, deliberately, as if every gesture mattered. I asked him what his secret was for sleeping so well, and he laughed. He had a wonderful laugh, a deep, rumbling sound that came from somewhere in his belly. He said, "I do not have a secret. I just do not fight with the night." He told me that when he cannot sleep, he does not lie in bed getting frustrated. He gets up, makes a cup of warm water, not tea, just warm water, sits in his favorite chair, and looks out the window at the darkness. He said the darkness has a texture, a depth, that you can only see when you stop trying to escape it. He does not try to sleep. He does not try to do anything. He just exists in the quiet until his body decides it is ready. He told me that fighting sleeplessness is like trying to smooth water with your hand. The more you push, the more ripples you create. The only way to smooth the water is to stop touching it. This was the hardest ritual for me to adopt because it required me to let go of control. During my 2-week experiment, there was one night where I could not sleep. My mind was racing. I kept checking the clock. I started doing the math. If I fall asleep now, I will get 4 hours and 20 minutes. If I fall asleep now, I will get 3 hours and 50 minutes. I felt the familiar panic rising, the sense that the night was slipping away and taking my next day with it. But instead of spiraling, I remembered Sato Sensei's advice. I got up, I went to my living room, I sat in the dark, I did not turn on any lights. I did not look at my phone. I just sat there breathing, not trying to do anything, not trying to sleep, not trying to fix the problem. I looked out the window at the streetlight, casting a small pool of orange on the sidewalk. I listened to the sound of my own breathing. I felt the cool air on my skin. After about 40 minutes, a wave of tiredness washed over me. It came from nowhere, unbidden, like a gift I had not asked for. I went back to bed and fell asleep within minutes. The old me would have spent those 40 minutes in bed, tossing and turning, getting more and more anxious, and probably would not have slept at all. The Japanese approach turns insomnia from a crisis into a non-event. You did not sleep well. So what? The world did not end. You will be tired tomorrow, and then you will sleep better tomorrow night. There is no need to panic. There is no need to try harder. Sleep is not a skill you can master. It is a biological function, like breathing or digesting. You cannot force it. You can only allow it. This is the final and most powerful Japanese sleep ritual. Stop trying, create the conditions, trust your body, let sleep come to you. Try it tonight. If you cannot sleep after 20 minutes, get up, sit in the dark, do nothing. Do not fight the night, just wait. Sleep will find you when you stop chasing it.